and welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I will be your host for this evening, or this morning, or this afternoon. It just depends when you're listening, really. After all, it's your podcast. Joining me today, and it's probably instantly regretting actually saying he would come on. That serves you right for not listening to any of the shows. Is a gentleman who is actually... He's a content creator. He occasionally hangs about with Mr. Paul Grogan. He is known for rather getting involved in his rather weighty cardboard, because if you stand next to his furniture, on occasion you might hear a creaking shelf or two. It is none other than Mr. Matt Evans. So there you go. Hello, Matt.
Hello there. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I'm good myself. You know, as I say, I've got some apple juice and 7-Up. The night is young, and it's all going to be some fun. The reason that we've asked Matt on is because he's a content creator, and sometimes it helps to hear about other people that are doing sterling work, getting the kind of the board game hobby out there. So I asked him on, so he can tell us a little bit about himself and tell us a little bit about Creaking Shelves and what it's all about and what it's doing. The reason that we do this is because we fundamentally still believe that there quite simply isn't enough podcasts out there about board games. Where apparently there's now just 3 board games from Scotland, all podcasts about board games. That's the juice kicking in already. And
it's going to be a wild night.
It's going to be a crazy night, you know. It's should have probably went for the natural apple juice instead of the one that says it's made from concentrate and E-numbers. And the other reason that we do this, as I say, is we like to get on other people that are doing good work in the industry, and I grabbed the opportunity to have a chat with Matt. So I guess as we always start off, we'd like to know a little bit about how you got involved in the world of kind of, I guess, pressed and printed trees. So do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about your history?
Well, my history kind of really begins with refined oil, much more than pressed and printed trees. I was a big miniatures gamer growing up. Yes, all the Games Workshop stuff. When they released the Lord of the Rings game to tie in with the films.
Oh, you weren't buy the first part for $2.99 and then buy every subsequent part for $4.99 boy. Were you?
I was, yes. The Battle of Games in Middle Earth or whatever the magazine series was. Yes.
Did you... Okay, here's a question. First question then.
Yeah.
Did you go the clever route and subscribe? Or did you just get it kept for you at the newsagents? And how long before you kind of went, listen, I've spent £700 on this now?
I went the subscription route.
Did you?
Yeah, it was such a good deal, that magazine. It was insane. Like £4 every fortnight for like a pile of plastic models and all the instructions for how to paint them and games to play and stuff. That was... Usually those magazines always come across as such a rip-off, but this one was actually cheaper than buying them direct from Games Workshop.
I remember the one about you can build a car, and it was like 1,800 issues, and it was priced about £10 each. So you could pay, like, you know, you could spend £18,000 buying like a model car. You couldn't drive it, but if you wanted to, you could technically go out and save the money and buy yourself a real car in real life. I am amazed. It's always something that fascinates me, because they always seem to stick around for a while and then they just disappear into the ether, and you wonder if they wait until they've got a subscription base, because it must be cheaper just to service a subscription base and maybe send out maybe 300 models every issue, then I suppose produce thousands and thousands of magazines to kind of send it out there. I wonder, I'd be interested to... That's something to kind of track down. How big was your army then, Matt? How big did it get?
I collected those magazines for like a couple of years. I didn't go all the way. I eventually stopped because then I got into Warhammer.
Oh.
That's the kind of natural next step. And then I had quite a lot of it. I had a good couple of thousand models, I think, at one point. Across various Games Workshop systems. They took a lot of my birthday and Christmas money as a teenager.
Did you see when you were going down the line at the beginning, and you would probably go, I'll paint these. So you painted all of it, and you obviously went down the route, and I'll really go down the kind of the painting chart, and really, really kind of make a good effort. By the time you had several thousand miniatures, was it just a case of getting out like a big brush with some Dulux and just across like 50 at a time?
It was more a case of I just had a lot of grey plastic that I never quite managed to finish painting. But I really enjoyed the painting, but it's like it was coming in faster than I could ever hope to get them painted. Because I was far too much of a perfectionist at it. So
it's like painting the Forth Road Bridge.
Yeah,
that whole thing. As soon as you kind of like got one finished, there was another 50 to do.
At least they do finish the Forth Road Bridge occasionally, though.
They've done it, and they've finished it now. Because they did is such a shame. Because they used to like they actually finished it, and then it used to be the case, we got to paint it again, and then some smart aleck went, why don't you just paint it using a plastic material type thing? Then you never have to paint it again. And obviously, you can imagine
put all those paintings out.
Exactly, several hundred people going, well, that's just brilliant, isn't it? Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah, we knew about that. We'd known about that since 77. But, we're going to tell you. Were you, in the painting side of things, have you got like pictures of the models? Have you kept some of the models? Is there ones that you kind of finished and you kind of held it aloft above your head and went, this is, I cannot get any better than this? Or do you become quite self-critical as you learn new kind of techniques and stuff like that?
Yeah, you I never reached the point of entering competitions or anything like that, but like I was always pushing to try new stuff. So like I tried like the non-metallic metals and some of the kind of the lighting effects and stuff like that. So I got to that point, and I've still got some. I sold a lot of I don't have any of my old Warhammer stuff, but as I fell out of love with the game system and the whole Games Workshop model, I discovered that board games were doing tons of miniatures now as well. And Kickstarter, hey, they can provide one or two miniatures occasionally if you look hard enough.
Hey, new crowdfunded friend.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Those look almost. I like those sculpts, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, did you kind of move then quite quick? Did you? Well, yeah. What was the kind of the first games that like when you saw Kickstarter? What were the kind of the ones that you went, oh yeah, I've got to get myself some of this?
Well, what was it? Well, there was the first Zombicide I'd missed, and so it was like, oh my god, that looked amazing! Look at all the stuff you got with that. How did I miss out? I'm not missing out on the next one, which meant I went in pretty heavy into a game called Rivet Wars, another CMON one, which came out and almost immediately vanished off the face of the earth.
Rivet Wars is stunning. Rivet Wars
They're
is
really nice minis.
It's the kind of the cutesy kind of barrel shaped kind of figures, and you had like it was the Eastern Front side of thing. I've played it. I've played Rivet Wars lots of times because I love the system and love the. Was always meant to get the expansions, but there was one of these games that, as it became, they were down to kind of limited print runs. It's one of those it's one of those pains that a game doesn't do well So it does a limited print run for its expansions, and then it only does that one print run for the expansions, and then getting hold of the expansions is absolutely impossible. Now, me and Colin played that. Played that a few times, and actually he loved it so much that I said, "Here, you can basically have my copy. Here's I know you love the game. Here, have my copy." So so he was lovely into that. Did you paint them up then?
I managed to paint. I painted a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I was also I'd already got like Super Dungeon Explore.
Oh yeah.
And I love those. So I've got a fully painted set of like the original box of that. And then then there's like the next Zombicide, and then Cthulhu Wars.
Yeah.
So Cthulhu Wars is basically why I've got creaking shelves, because I've got so much of that. I mean, I got all of the stuff from the first Kickstarter,
right?
And by the time the second Cthulhu Wars Kickstarter came around, I'd finally kind of grown up a bit and realised just how much plastic I had in my house and how much money I was spending on Kickstarter for these things. And so I stopped then, but I still have more. I worked it out that to paint Cthulhu Wars,
yeah,
right. If I painted like a whole batch of like each monster type, right, in a week, it would take me 2 years to fully paint it all, and there's no way I would be able to paint a whole batch of monsters in 1 week.
Just like, where'd you start? That's like something that's worthwhile doing armed robbery for, so you end up in some kind of prison. So they say, what are you going to do now? Well, I've got plenty of time. Finally have enough time to paint Cthulhu Wars. So glad I committed that large-scale bank fraud. Just bring my paints in.
Yeah.
You're just trading them. Have you got a couple of snouts, mate? Hey, what are you going to suit it for? Just wondering if you've got any heavy gravel. He can get you a tin.
PVA glue as well, yeah.
Exactly. Liquid Donald will get you sorted out for the next couple of weeks. You'll need to give him his mobile phone now. So, you did a couple of years in prison.
Yep.
Finished off painting Cthulhu Wars. Do you stay with the miniatures? I mean, you said obviously. Did you walk away from Kickstarter and went no?
I still back stuff. Generally, just not the miniatures side of things so much anymore.
You just thought like one miniature will be one miniature too many.
Yeah, I don't have space anymore.
You have to go to a group. It's like, yeah, I've got that as well. Yeah, I've got that. How many miniatures? You got 40,000 miniatures.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. 37,000.
It's definitely countable.
It's still countable. I still don't have to kind of round them off into batches of 100.
Yeah.
Kind of put them to one side.
Weigh them count them by weight. Yeah.
Do you regret selling some of the some of the Warhammer stuff then? I mean, some of it must be...
Sometimes. I had a really nice Dark Eldar army for 40k, which I was really proud of. Really like slick blue colour scheme. So that was kind of emotional, letting go of that. But at the same time, it sold for a reasonable amount of money, so that kind of
win-win.
Took the edge off the pain.
Did you go out and buy more plastic with it? That's the thing. I bought a car.
No, but all that money eventually went on getting a engagement ring, so it was well spent.
I take it they're in the room with you then.
In the room next door, but I'm sure my
Are they likely to listen to this podcast? No, it's all fine. It's all fine. So, obviously the minute, but did you still kind of get involved? I mean, okay, why didn't you get Kingdom Death Monster then? Surely there must have been fingers hovering over buttons when it came to Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I was tempted, but I'm trying to remember when it was, like, because there was the point where, so like after Cthulhu Wars, I think then I kind of realized how much I'd spent in like that year, and so was able to, that kind of reformed me. So yeah, no, I think Kingdom Death Monster was just too much. Like it was, it was like you if you wanted to go into it, I'm not sure I could have just got like the base game. There's all those expansions with all the extra models and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I probably have wanted to get all of it, and then there's no way that was going to be affordable. Jeez.
No. It was weird because the original Kingdom Death Monster was kind of sold on the fact like it had the pin-up models and stuff like that. It was sold because it was like a sexy game. And now, on the latest version, people are kind of going absolutely crazy because they say, no, it is actually a really, 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 really good game. It's a great game. In fact, it's a fantastic game. But I do remember a lot of people going, oh, yeah, Kingdom Death Monster, it should be called Kingdom Nuddy Monster. Because, because of all the different kind of... Yeah, it was extremely kind of... It wasn't adult, because if it was an adult game, halfway through you would have had to, apply for a mortgage and sort out your direct debits. It's maybe a 14-year-old's kind of, or a 13-year-old's dream. Let's face it. That's what an adult board game is.
Yeah.
An adult board game is like considering my next move and whether, if I went for a higher salary, would my benefits and my pension coming along, because I am getting on a bit. I mean, that's what that is. It's not, look at all these naked ladies going about. That's not an adult board game. That's a 13-year-old board game. Let's stop lying to ourselves. But did you then start to get into the cardboard side of things?
Yeah. Around that time, I was doing a PhD at the time and so a couple of friends. Yeah, so I found the time to, gives you a bit of time to do stuff as you want to when you. So I kind of fell out of love with doing the science side of things, and started getting more and more into board gaming. There's a group of friends there. We started up our own board game group.
What did you do? What was
weekly.
Your PhD in?
It was in computational biology. I was studying plants and how the cells in plants signal to each other.
Well, you're kind of, in terms of what? Kind of reaction to certain environments and stuff like that? Or... Yeah,
exactly. So, if there's a sudden change in the environment, the plant has to kind of respond to that. Okay. And so, how do you go from sudden change in temperature to whatever happens inside the plant?
So, kind of looking at different effects on xylem and phloem and stuff like that. Did you go into trees and look at kind of residual cambium and stuff at the same time? Sorry.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, go. We're not wizards. Science podcast. Yeah,
exactly. If you want to talk shop, that's fine. I did a bit of biology at university. These guys, at the end of the day, your shells are made out of wood, people, right? Even if you've got the MDF stuff.
Where do you think all this cardboard comes from?
You know what I mean? Let's find out what this is all about. You got an expert in the field. That's why it's called Creaking Shells. He knows all about it. He can probably tell you why it creaks. That's why.
Yeah,
probably tell you the actual structure of it as well. So let's not mock him. Goodness sake. I'm always interested in the person that surrounds the kind of the cardboard as well, or in your case, the kind of the cardboard that came surrounding the cardboard that surrounds the cardboard that, look, we've got concentric circles. If we cut you in half, we could probably tell you how long you've been playing board games for. But no, so did you finish off your... I take it you must have finished off your PhD then. Yes. You didn't just, ditched it and went, that's me, I'm rolling dice and taking names now. So are you a doctor then as well then, or?
I am now, yes.
Are you?
I finished it just over a year ago.
Oh, cool, okay.
And that's when I moved down to London and started work in the real world. But
that's another
Yeah.
story for another time. Did that kind of, when you were kind of going, I can't be bothered with this kind of thing, let's kind of get on with some more cardboard, were you introduced to kind of like different games and stuff like that at that time then?
We got into this, the cycle that, as you do, buying, discovering all the classic games and stuff, and all, there's 3 or 4 of us, and then I think there was like 6 or 7 of us by the end of it, and we were all buying games every few weeks, so it was like we barely ever played the same game 2 weeks in a row.
Do you end up with quite a collection then yourself by that time?
Yeah. I mean, I've got as many games as I can fit in our cupboard here now. And I'd filled shelves back then as well, before I started getting like review copies, things like that.
I mean, is there stuff that you've been playing recently at the moment that you kind of been really enjoying?
I'm really into the Arkham Horror Living card game.
Right. Okay.
I really enjoy that. I just got so upcoming review, I guess, is for Through the Desert.
Okay.
Which just got re-released because it's one of the older Reiner Knizia games. Which is a big hex grid of the desert, and you've got lots of camels, and you're just placing out camels in the desert for reasons, because it's a Reiner Knizia game, completely abstract, but
Exactly.
It's so simple, and that just kind of made me kind of step back a bit and look at all the games that have been released, over the last year. It's like, everything's so much more complicated nowadays. Whereas this is just like, on my turn, okay, so I put out some camels, and I try to get to the oasis, and that's it.
This is joking with Paul Grogan and saying, I remember this, when this was Night But Fields. It's that kind of thing. It is, it's like, what's I playing? King Domino.
Yeah.
And you put that on the table and you go, okay, so what do you do? Well, you take 4 tiles, okay, and you put them down in numerical order, okay, and then you decide which tile you want, okay, and then you put it on your plot of land, okay, and then what do? You top up the points at the end, okay, and then what do? You do the first step again until you finish the pile of cards that you've got. And you're just like, is that it? But then you get into it and it's absolutely fantastic, and it's become one of my... You can see how it won all these, these awards, and everybody's kind of ranting and raving about it. But you're right, because then you go back to... what was it I was looking at? I've managed to get hold of Warhammer Quest. And I'm looking through... Yeah.
The new Games Workshop.
Yeah, it's kind of like
right,
the card, the card game type thing. And you're reading through the rules and that, and you're just going, why can't it just be quite simple, and I can just go ahead and play it? And I'm going to know I'm going to be referring to the rules, or I'm going to be booting up a Rodney Smith video to kind of have a playthrough and see kind of what it's like. But no, I totally see kind of where you're coming from. I mean, do you still like your heavier kind of games? Are you still very much into that? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just this one's given me quite a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, like, Great Western Trail's probably been one of my favourites from this year. But it keeps coming out, even though I reviewed it back in like February or whatever. But every convention that I go to, every games weekend, Great Western Trail, get the game out. Which is such a rarity, right? When you're a reviewer, like, it's always about what's the next, article about. Let's get that played. And so, actually getting to keep playing something is, the mark of a really successful game.
No, I completely understand. I mean, it's a big difference. I mean, I used to review video games, and that's the biggest measure. Is you play a game through to write a critique about it or to record a video about it, but it's a big difference if 3 months you're actually saying, do you know what, I'll stick that back in the disk drive. I mean, how did you get from the journey from going, actually, I'll tell you what, I'm enjoying this is a lot of fun, but actually I might actually start putting together some content to tell some other people about what I think, or how did you make that kind of transition?
Yeah, so it was, I was getting really into people like Shut Up and Sit Down, who are major inspiration for me, I guess. But it was my group back when I was during my PhD. So we were starting to play around with like designing games and stuff.
Yeah,
just a little bit. And I thought, this would be really cool. And I'd seen like the Jamie Stegmeier's, how to do Kickstarter stuff, and all about building up an audience and things. And I thought, okay, well maybe if I start a blog, and that might give me people start following the blog, and then that could be somewhere I could launch games from. And then I started the blog, and that kind of just completely took over. And I've barely ever done any game design since. But that was the kind of initial genesis. I just started writing stuff, and it kind of just went from there.
It's kind of like buy cardboard, buy pens, hello keyboard. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, that looks good, kind of thing. What was the first game you reviewed?
Oh my god, what a good question. I think
there's one question that's always a good question on the show.
This is like, I know.
It's just like we do one.
The first one I wrote, was for Lifeboat.
All right.
Have you heard of it? It's
no.
Yeah, it's quite fun. It's like a little card game, and you're all in a lifeboat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, however many of you there are. But obviously, there's not really enough water to go around, and only the person at the head of the boat gets first pick of everything that you come across from the wreckage of the ship, and only the guy at the back of the boat steering, and you all really, really hate one other person in the boat and want to make sure they don't make it back to shore. But you also love someone else in the boat, and you want to make sure that they do make it back, right?
That mechanic kind of...
You just pick fights with each other.
Yeah, that's either a mechanic or the story of my life. But no. Okay, I mean, what did you think of it at the time? Did you enjoy it at the time? Were you quite kind of positive about it at the time?
Yes. Yeah. I've not played it much since, but I do listen. I still like it when I do. It's just, it's silly. And it's definitely got, like bad things. It's like players can totally be eliminated fairly early on and nasty stuff like that. But it's also just silly fun. I've
not got a problem with player elimination. It's survival of the fittest. If you're not good enough at a game, then and you get knocked out, it's your own fault. Except obviously when I'm the person that's getting eliminated, and then it's an absolutely terrible travesty of justice that needs to kind of get ruled out immediately. Would you write? Do you kind of like any kind of creative person, do you look back on that review and think, oh, I would have done that differently, or are you quite happy with the way the review turned out, your opinion at the time and things like that?
Yeah, well, I still stand by my opinion of it. So I don't tend to go back and read my older articles. Probably I'm too worried about exactly that. Maybe I've gotten worse. I don't know. I think that's the one that really worries me.
He's just like that. It's like, when did I lose my edge?
Yeah, exactly.
that stuff was like cutting edge. Oh my goodness. The words and the structure and just, the whole thing is just immense. I'm just looking at it right now and my current stuff's like mashed potatoes. It's formless. And, why am I even doing this? And that kind of thing. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of these things. I think you just have to power through. It's a terrible thing about being a content creator is having the sheer, I guess the sheer kind of will just to keep steaming through and accept at some points you might go back and listen or read over or watch something that you've done before and went, that wasn't very good, or that could have been, that kind of could have been better. Is there though games that you have kind of maybe changed your opinion on over the period of time since you've been kind of creating the content? Because you don't just do the write. I mean, you get involved in a fair enough. You've got your videos that you do, your comparison videos that you do. You do your short write ups. You do your big write ups. I mean, do you feel?
That's brand new.
I know, but. Do you feel now that you're creating content on a regular basis? Is there a kind of do you feel you have to push yourself to continually kind of innovate and things like that?
Yeah, you do always want to try new things. Particularly as it's very hard to know whether what you're doing is very good, good enough, or whether people really care. It's like sometimes it's very lonely being a content creator, right?
No, I totally understand that, because let's face it, if you're looking at, going back to Shut Up and Sit Down, God rest her and all that's sailing her, but if they put up a content, I'm going to be very nice because I'm currently kind of had a little side conversation with Matt Lees about coming on the show, so I don't want to be terrible. He'll just be like that. Nah, he's not coming on because look at him. He just totally slagged us off with this other episode, and we're not going to do that. But if they post a piece of content, there is usually a whole raft of comments on it. And he's saying, I agree with you. This is amazing. This is fantastic. This is brilliant. I remember. They're very, very influential. I remember Tom Clare, that did Champion of the Wild, and they mentioned his game, and Tom went, oh, I all of a sudden got funded on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
he just couldn't believe it actually happened. It's like, this is fantastic. But no, it's, and you'll get people that are champions. I think once you get to a certain level, you'll get people that will come back and maybe say, well, I think you maybe should have done that differently. But are you just like, well, I'm just going to put it out in here and see what sticks?
Maybe. I don't know. I really enjoy the process of just making these things.
Yeah.
But then, I write an article, right, and then it goes out and people definitely read it, and people keep coming back to read stuff, but I have no idea what they think about it very, very much, because no one ever leaves a comment on a blog for some reason. Blogs, no. I found videos though, having started the YouTube channel. I actually get comments on the videos, and that's so nice. So it's clearly something about YouTube means people are actually much more willing to comment, or maybe it's the format, because I'm actually doing a comparison. So it's like I can actually ask, which do you guys? What do you think's better? Let me know, type thing.
Because you did one. Was it Euphoria? Is it Euphoria and viticulture?
Yes, that was yesterday's video. That's right.
And so what is that all about? Because I was like, I will do some homework here. Just better check this guy out if he's going to be coming on the show. Check out this, go through, and it's like, okay, there's general stuff. And then there's like masks and people doing funny accents, and we're going to be talking about Euphoria today, and it's the only game you're going to be talking about, kind of thing. And I'm like going, it's you need to be quite courageous to do something like that, I think. I don't mean that in a nasty way. No,
Yeah.
no, because it's very, very easy just to sit in front of a box of games. Here's my box of games behind me. I've not got any box of games. I've got a lovely kind of mass-produced oil painting type thing. But to sit and kind of go and blah, 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 and it takes a lot to kind of go out there and go, well, let's do some masks, let's do costumes, let's do places, let's do scripts and stuff like that. Is that something you've just kind of like, well, let's just go and do this and see kind of what happens?
Yeah, well, I knew, like, there was no point just making standard reviews, right? Just doing what everyone else already does.
Yeah.
So when I started getting interested in the idea of doing a video series, I thought, put some effort into coming up with something that's different, as different as we could do. And for some points it gets very different.
I just was like, I think I was more jealous at the fact that someone on your team has got a V for Vendetta mask.
It's alright. Really, you can get that costume really cheap. It's fine.
Oh, that's okay then. Well, I'm not jealous at all.
We've not been spending too much money on this. Don't worry.
Exactly that. It's going towards the Patreon. We need to reach the $500 a month mark.
More masks needed.
More masks needed. Listen, if you want to have us dressing up and doing cuts like this, which take a lot of time, you don't realise how difficult it is. It's all very well, but cutting from one thing to another and then merging the film and stuff together and then managing the audio and getting all the sound right is a difficult thing to do. Thanks very much.
It really is. I can't believe, it's given me a huge amount of respect for people who are able to do this regularly. So, I mean, we did the 6-episode series, which just finished, so that was the last of our videos for a little bit. As a kind of test the waters, see how it goes. Kind of thing, and that it's taken us. We originally had the idea a year ago. Yeah, we came up with the format, and then a year ago. So it's taken us all year to get this produced. Hopefully, now we'll be a bit faster, so we don't have to wait until next year, a whole another year to see anything else on the channel. But we got some ideas for some quicker stuff. Early next year, and then there'll be a second season, hopefully within 6 months, I think.
Do you heavily? I mean, do you just script them, or do you just kind of you do?
Yeah,
I suppose
fully
scripted. Yeah, I suppose for the Euphoria one anyway, it was like obviously you can just say and be posh. All right, okay. Is that the plan, though? I mean, are you planning to kind of make more and more of these as time goes on?
Yes, we're certainly picking games for the second season.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to do another 6-episode thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Probably.
Okay. Are you going to be? Well, we're just going to be the guys that are going to try to do something different. Is that the kind of the plan, or are you just going to say, well, let's try something, see what happens. If it works, keep going. If it doesn't, then fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm really happy with how this first series has gone, considering it was starting from nothing, and people have actually come watched it, which is so nice, so nice. So we'll definitely do a second series of that, and then we've got an idea for a different format, which is again not just standard reviews or playthroughs or anything. That's hopefully going to be something we can produce actually quite a bit faster than these full, because each of those episodes takes like a full day to film.
Yeah, I've not. Yeah,
plus
absolutely.
The scripting, plus the editing, all of that. But yeah, that's still in the kind of early scripting planning stages, so I might leave that mysterious.
That's fine. No, I'm so used to speaking to designers who say, we've got 5 games planned to go to Kickstarter next year. Do you want to tell us anything about them at all? No. And they just leave it hanging in there. It's like, all right, okay, well, I have no idea how to link this to the next section of the questions, kind of thing.
Yep.
Are you getting kind of more kind of people offering kind of reviews and things like that? I mean, do you actively have a list of people that you ask for kind of review copies, or do you find that more and more you're kind of getting offered to review kind of different games?
So I've been really quite lucky. I feel like, so I got Estevium, who are the main distributor of games in the UK, reached out to me. I've been doing stuff about 6 months.
All right, okay.
And I'd had like a couple of like Kickstarter people send get in contact and send me stuff before then. But they were just small projects. And then, sort of out of nowhere, it felt like I get this email from Estevium saying, "We've come across your blog. We really like your stuff. Can we take you on for a trial period?" Type thing. What are your viewing figures, readership like? And it's like, I got a few. This is how many. I was like, okay, well, no, that's not really
photograph of you holding up your hand.
Well, there's my mum, my girlfriend.
I must admit, I've read it through twice a couple of times just to get the figures up. F5. Yeah,
anyway.
Delete and re-download. I've been there with the podcast. Delete and re-download. Is that post on Twitter? Oh yeah, I'm so happy that we've finally reached 20,000 downloads on the podcast. Because I tell you what, my arms are tired. It's that kind of thing. I don't know.
My hard drive from downloading and clearing it.
I know, because you can't just download it and then press the download button thing. You've got to listen to you either got to listen to the whole thing or skip right to the end and then re-download it again. My broadband bill's an absolute nightmare. But the sad thing is, you check out your stats and it's like you recognise your own IP address and you're like, oh, that's just mine. That's just me downloading it. But when you're starting to do content like this, are you the type of guy that is keeping an eye on the stats? As you do as you're doing the YouTube stuff and you're getting the blog stats and stuff like that, do you sometimes have to say, well, look, I'm going to walk away for a bit because the content's out there, it's really, really good, and it just kind of picks up and just kind of let it look after itself? I mean, because I don't know about you, but I've done shows which I thought, oh, that was really, really good, and then you're saying, well, it didn't get the reach that I thought it would, and then the ones that you're kind of like, oh, that was okay, and then it's like, it goes up like a rocket.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, actually, I've been thinking exactly that with like the latest videos. Like the one I thought was our best one, the best quality, best script. There's barely anyone watched it. But and the other 5 are doing really well. And it's what?
No idea.
What is going on?
Do I even know what I'm doing?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Hey guys, I'm really proud about this one. Go watch it, please. And then, no. Maybe I was too. Was I too eager? Is that what it was?
You need to go on and do an angry reaction video to seeing your stats for the first time. Because
this isn't good enough, guys.
Because that seems to be what everybody's doing. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like, let's have people reacting to people to people coming out the first viewing of The Last Jedi. And it's like, why am I even, what am I doing?
Yeah, caught some controversy or something, yeah.
That's just, I don't know. That's the thing. But are you just single-minded and just saying, well, this is happening, let's go on with it. We've got the deal with Estevium. That's kind of cool. I take it they still sending you kind of games and stuff to kind of look at and review.
Yeah, I have a kind of regular shipments into the office. Going through. So, like, I just reviewed Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
That's not getting edited, Matt.
I know. I've listened to your podcast, don't worry.
I'm just like, no, that's staying in. And then what you do is you make it impossible to edit, because you say, because you wait like 10 minutes and then I'll say, I can't believe you messed up that pandemic legacy.
Hey, there we go, that's both of us gone.
That's both of us done, so we're stuffed either way, you know what I mean? We're just going to cut the whole section. Let's do a click. Don't edit. There's no point in editing. You miss out the flow of the conversation. But as you were saying, you got you got Pondo Legacy. Going back to Lord of the Rings.
Legacy, the Lord of the Rings edition.
The Lord of the Rings edition. That's it. My arrow strikes true. Ding! So you finished doing that, you've written up a review, and you said, no, there's no spoilers in this.
Yeah.
How'd you do that then?
Very carefully.
Because you got to watch out with stuff like that, with like spoilers and stuff.
You do.
Because there'll be some people that go, oh, you showed me the picture of the map.
Yeah, there's always that where do the spoilers begin? Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, no packages opened, no legacy deck stuff, and just like what you get when you first open the box. Like that should be okay, right? If you can't, handle seeing that much, that's too. You just want to go in completely fresh, and you probably shouldn't be reading reviews about it.
It's just like, what?
Yeah.
You're just looking for something to complain about, Yeah. Oh, I've got it sitting on my desk now. I'm really looking forward to playing it. Time to go to Google and look for non-spoilery reviews to complain about.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Not got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dear Mr. Evans, I note I'm writing to complain about. It's like, why are you writing to complain? Why are you sending me a letter? How did you get my home address?
Yeah.
Scumbag. But are you finding that you're having to be more select? I mean, obviously with that coming in, what do you do with all the extra cardboard? I mean, do you hand it out to people? Because this is a real thing. Because what do you do with it? I mean, it's like you've got Euphoria, and there's the ones that you keep, or the ones that you actually kind of end up giving to friends. Do you like?
I mean, I keep some, but then I have run out of space now, and there's a small pile in the corner of the bedroom of like I need to sort this out. I need to go through and figure out which ones I'm going to properly keep and which ones I need to move on. But normally, so like if I bought the game, which I do buy games still. I'll sell it. Review copies I give away. I occasionally, very occasionally, because I run a like a proper competition type giveaway thing.
Yeah.
I don't do that very often. So generally, I've like given stuff to charity things. So at like the UK Games Expo, there's a chap I know who does the auction and sells basically games. Runs this live auction. He's a big chap with a massive booming voice and does a really entertaining thing. So you should totally check that out. So I gave him a load of old review copies just for him to sell, and said to give it to the UK Games Expo charity. Some odd games, like if I've got friends I know who really want a particular game, then I might give it to them. Mm-hmm. So like a friend recently really was taken with Word Slam, and Word Slam, great game, but comes in a massive box. It's one of those ones that's way bigger than the amount of stuff inside it.
Yeah.
And so
was it Splendor? Apparently,
yes.
Is like that. Splendor is like kind of half of the box is the game, and the rest of the box is the Splendor that you get when you go.
You take the insert out, and it's just like all piled up in the tiny corner.
Exactly. There's like 5 components in the whole game.
Yeah.
It's like a bag of sugar in a warehouse.
Yep.
Oh, I'll just smack my microphone. This is going really well.
Yeah, good stuff.
But
yeah.
I mean, what about Kickstarters as well? Are you getting kind of inundated with a lot of people kind of saying, can you do reviews for us? Can you do a video for us now and stuff like that?
There was a time when I was, but I kind of stopped doing them.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't really being. It's not like I was being Stonemeyer Games or Tasty Minstrel Games were reaching out to me to do their Kickstarters that would get tons of traffic. It was just kind of like the really small guys. So like I wasn't getting much return for the effort. Like people weren't really that interested.
Yeah.
And as I was getting more contact with bigger publishers, I decided just to focus on bigger, the new bigger releases. So I don't really do Kickstarter coverage, like very much, or almost ever. Like I do stuff for kind of like, I guess, old friends in the industry now. Yeah. Like people who took a chance on me when I was a lot smaller, and I will now happily help them out in return.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in more of a position to do that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But generally I've got enough work on my plate, keeping up with as best you can all the new releases that come out from the big guys into retail and stuff. So any Kickstarter stuff I get nowadays is stuff I bought, really, and get when everyone else does.
But no models. Kind of no models whatsoever.
Well, I did back Rising Sun, so some models still.
You're on the slippery slope. On the slippery slope, Mr. Evans. You can say like that now. I've got some space. No, but again, it's one of these things. It's difficult to say. Well, you have to be quite set in your niche and what you're actually going to cover, because you could end up kind of covering kind of everything. I mean, we generally don't review stuff. We give kind of like impressions. We don't kind of say, oh yeah, we've played this 5 times and here's the pros and cons when we've done it. Generally, if me and Colin are doing a show and we're talking about a game, it's kind of like an overview of what we thought, whether we liked it or whether we didn't. It's kind of not a recommendation or a review. It's just like, hey, we've been playing this and this is what it's like. I think that you have to be quite selective in what you're going to be covering. Otherwise, you end up covering everything, but not covering everything very, very well.
Yeah.
And then you're not doing the justification to anything, because you end up not being able to spend enough time recording a video or writing up an article about Kickstarter, and then you're not able to do the same time writing up the latest game that Tasty Minstrel are about to put out there as well, kind of thing.
Yeah, so exactly.
It can ultimately kind of suffer.
Yeah, I always feel like the one thing that I've never managed to do is to really get into like the brand new games like really fast, like get the copies early and get my review out first type thing, that chasing the hotness. Like I realized that would just be insane, like impossible to do that kind of work. People like Nobody Included seems to be exceptionally good at getting games like their reviews out first.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's a big part of the success of a lot of the bigger meat content creators, is just they're able to get stuff 2 to 3 weeks before anyone else.
Yeah, I mean that does make a difference. I mean, it was the same. I mean, it's the same with. It's the same with a lot of industries. I mean, the guys that I know, people that were going along and seeing the press screening for The Last Jedi, so they were in.
Oh yeah.
3-4 days before anyone else was seeing it. I know guys that review video games, and they're obviously, depending on how friendly they are, not friendly with the publisher, but pretend, depending on the relationship they have, they'll either get a code a couple of weeks in advance, or they'll get a code kind of like the 2 days before the game's kind of released. So I can completely understand. I guess it's another one of these decisions. Do you become the guy that chases the new hotness? Because then, if everybody is talking about the new hotness, then you end up with like this video game situation where everybody's talking about something for like 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it kind of disappears, and then you get games like a bigger tail. Did you know?
That's kind of why I wanted to do something different with the with the video, right? It's like let's make something that doesn't rely on just writing about the latest hotness, right? Try and find content that's interesting for people to watch.
Absolutely. And you're also reminding people that those games exist. I think what happens is, and I think this happens more and more as the number of games come out, and it's just me, I'll see a game, somebody will be talking about it, and then I'll be, I'd really like to play that. And then something else will come up because I've got a low attention span, and then that'll be me. I would have forgotten about that game until I see it again. It's like seeing the Euphoria video reminded me of two things: is that I'm never ever going to do a video because I've not got a face for such things. But it also reminded me
you can wear a mask as well.
I really need to get my hands on Euphoria and have a play about with it, because it's one of the. I love viticulture. Scythe I prefer not as much as viticulture. Viticulture is just completely my bag. But Euphoria sounds like a game I'd really, really like to get my hands on, but I forget about it, then it goes away, and then I get watch the video and I'm reminded, I really kind of need to get hold of that. But then it's like you see like Great Western Trail. There's another game I kind of wouldn't mind getting my hands on. People are talking about I've seen somebody posting about Ethnos. Why did I leave Ethnos so long? And you're like, damn, Ethnos, I really need, before you realise I've got a list of shame. I'm not talking about a pile of shame. I've got a list of games that I keep forgetting about that I need to remind myself to try and play at some point as well. But no, that's kind of cool. Talks for people who have listened, and God bless you for staying with us for so long. Do you want to actually break down the type of stuff that you kind of cover and kind of take the floor, Mr. Evans, and explain to us the magic that is the creek. Well, I mean, how did you come up with the name Creaking Shelves? That's a stupid question, isn't it? Well, I don't know. What I mean? Well, actually,
God, that was so long ago now. 2.5 years, I think I've been running the blog.
Wow.
So I was just looking for something board game-ish related. Something hopefully slightly witty, and all the good meeple puns were taken. So somehow I came up with Creaking Shelves.
Because you can't just, as I say, I think I can't remember who I was speaking to this about, but it's kind of like board game kind of content creators have kind of like become the hairdressers in terms of what they call themselves. Curl up and die. See, the thing is, right, curl up and die, that could be a hairdresser's, or it could be a board game podcast about Dungeons and Dragons. So you've got two, but you know what I mean. So it must be a struggle to come up with an actual name. Scissors, cut above the rest.
Yeah.
Trimming. That just sounds disgusting. What you've been doing today? Trimming. So you're like us, we just came up with a word that didn't have the word board games in it, because I looked at board games, I was like, I'm never going to find anything that's kind of like worthwhile. So what kind of stuff do you cover? Board games. Go away.
Board games, yeah.
End the podcast. That goes
on the shelves.
No.
Yeah. So most of the content is reviews of whatever of the latest releases I can get my grubby little hands on, and I tend to prefer like Euro games, but I generally enjoy most games.
Yeah.
Like, and then when writing the review, it's like, what's the exciting, what stands out about this, what makes it great, and to have a bit of fun at the same time. So I always have a pun rating, and because I hate numerical ratings, and lots of jokes at the expense of, or in kind of as loving homages to the game itself.
Have you ever been tempted to write something which just totally not destroys a game, but goes as far as kind of like taking the actual Michael out of it to the 7th level?
I mean, I have had to really take some games apart, because I mean, like with review copies, I've always had the attitude of if I've been sent a game, I will review it, and that has meant on, you know, generally games are at least good, right? They're at least playable, right? But I did have, you know, I've had a couple of Kickstarter games that were just really not up to scratch, you know. They had some, they received a nasty review.
Are you not afraid to be quite critical then?
No. So, like, if there are problems with a game, I will not kind of hold back.
Yeah.
So but then I've not had to do that very often. It's been an interesting year for them, actually. Like, I had, like, at the start of the year, I had a run of absolutely fantastic games, like, you know, Gloomhaven and Great Western Trail and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went for a period of, like, a whole bunch of games that were good, that were solid, like Century Spice Road and Dice Forge and stuff, but weren't, like, setting my world alight in the same way. It was just kind of, they're good, but they're also not quite, pushing, they're not inspiring me, and I was starting to get quite worried, actually. It was like, am I burning out or something? Am I losing enthusiasm for games? But thank goodness, some really good stuff came in in the last few months, and I was like, okay, good. It's not me. It's them. It's good.
It's just you're disappointing.
Yeah.
I'm not annoyed or angry.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in you, Dice Forge. You're very nice. I like your inlay. It's one of the most spectacular ones I've ever seen. I really like your art. I like your sleeve thing. Your sleeve thing. Yeah, that's nice. The slidey thing. Yeah, that keeps everything organised. I like things organised. But you're just disappointing. I thought I was going to play something else. Yeah, you can go and sit with your brother Century Spice Road and think about what you've done. No, you're not a Splendor Killer. You're not a Splendor Killer, Century. You know, you got lucky. You got the hype quite right, okay? But who remembers you now? Who remember? Nobody, right? And so on. But I know. But well, so you've got the main reviews. You're doing your videos as well.
Yeah. So
which are really really good fun.
Thank you. I had a lot. We had a lot of fun with those. I have to admit, it really was an opportunity just to kind of like go crazy. Like, none of those were, through reviews, copies, or anything like that. It was just entirely for the sake of creating something. Yeah. Which was nice.
But that's why you did it in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, when you started it wouldn't have been a case that, I know what's going to happen. Here's my plan. Major game board, major game distributor's going to get in contact with me round about month 8.
Yep.
and then we're set up. It's not like you plan that.
The 5-year plan.
Exactly. You know, this time next year, Rodney, we'll not have any shelving space. But oh my goodness, where can we find you on the interweb nets, Mr. Evans?
I am at creakingshelves.com.
Okay.
And my YouTube channel is also Creaking Shelves. And my Twitter account is actually at Creaking Shelf because I didn't have enough space for the plural.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
I'm also on Instagram as well. But yeah, it's the worst.
I can't believe you couldn't get the full shelves. Is it because it was over the character limit?
Yeah. So I've only got the one shelf on Twitter. But
it's obviously Creaking because it's under the weight of everything else.
Yeah, you need to go to the website for the full experience.
For the full 6 shelfer.
Yeah.
How many shelving units do you have?
So I only have one shelving unit in my flat because I live in a smallish flat in London. So I've only got 6. It's not a Kallax, like it's one of the, but it is from IKEA. So you do have like a cube shelving thing. It's actually half of our wardrobe.
All right.
We don't have too many clothes, so I've got all this. We've got a really big wardrobe as well. So it's like we fit all the clothes in half the wardrobe, and the other half is all my board games.
And occasionally, I go out dressed up like a really bad robot from Halloween during the 70s. He's like, Matt, I really appreciate you sending me this copy of Scythe, but there appears to be 2 really big round holes. Says, yeah, that's because I kind of ran out of washing one day and I had to wear it as a sleeve for work.
Yeah.
That's cool. So do you get to the point where you're like, do I dress or do I just take cardboard with me? That's amazing. Oh. Are they creaking though? That's the main thing. No. Every
time I lift the things out or something. That'd be the on-brand answer, I guess. Yeah.
The answer is no. IKEA provides some of the best crafted furniture in the land. You can't even. Yeah, I mean, I've tried to set them on fire once and nothing happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, IKEA are never going to sponsor me, are they?
No, I mean, you've just basically chucked the whole Kallax thing out of it. You know, we mention them all the time because eventually they'll turn around and maybe give us one. Not that we're fussed. We keep ours under the bed.
That doesn't sound like nearly enough space.
No, I was joking with Steve Tudor on Polyhedron Collider once that when we do that video, the first video that we do, and you know how you usually have the people sitting in front of the big shelving units of board games. I'm going to be lying horizontally in front of the bed with all the games underneath, with a blood rushing to my head, and that little vein at the side of my forehead can almost pop in, and that's how it'll be done. Oh my goodness.
I look forward to those. When are they releasing?
They're not. As I say, I've got a face for podcasting.
Right.
Know? I'm just sick of my children saying, "Dad, Halloween was in October. It's almost Christmas now."
Charmers.
Absolutely, just like their dad. This has been a lot of fun. This has just been absolutely madness, but good fun. It's always good fun.
We enjoyed it at least.
We enjoyed it. We don't, as I say, this is my thing. It's a conversation between you and me. If several hundred people happen to listen to it at the same time, then that's up to them. I'm not deciding what they're doing to their work. You know, listen to something educational. You get TED Talks podcasts now. You can be learning something about the world. It's up to them. But we do appreciate every single one of them. So just go to Google, search Creaking Shelves or Shelf if you're on Twitter. We will make sure that we put all the links in the show notes so we have notes to show, as we always do. if you want to keep an eye on what we're doing, you can do the same thing. Go to Google, search for Creaking Shelves. You'll find... No, you won't. You'll find him there. Go to Google.
Do that.
Do that. That's better. That's the more educational, better thing for you. Or if you plan on listening to more of this nonsense and potentially videos, I'm just really not videos at all. I really look ugly. I'm just one of these people. I've not aged. I've aged like vinegar as I've got older, and I'm just as bitter. But if you go to Google, search We're Not Wizards, you'll find us on Twitter at We're Not Wizards, you'll find us on Facebook at We're Not Wizards, and Instagram at We're Not Wizards. If you go to YouTube and you search for We're Not Wizards Tabletop Podcast, you will find us there, because every single podcast that we do, thanks to our Podbean, who are our podcast hosts, they automatically put our podcasts up there for us. That's very nice. You can find us on Stitcher, you can find us on Acast, you can find us on Spreaker, you can find us on Podknife. If you like what you've listened to tonight, please consider going to Apple Podcasts and dropping us a little subscription. If you like us even more, consider giving us a rating or a review. If you are being that generous, and I'm telling you now, it's my birthday really soon, so... I'm not asking for any of you to send me anything. Just go to Apple Podcasts and stick us a little review. If you do give us a review, remember, don't give us a 10, because it makes us big-headed. But don't give us a 1, because it makes us cry. Give us a 5, because it's in the middle, and it's average. And we're decidedly average. But the person who's not been average tonight is the rather amazing, the rather fantastic Dr. Matthew Evans.
Well, thank you very much.
If you're wanting him to sort you out with your xylem and your phloem and your cambium and your communication between different vegetable matter, then here's your man. Otherwise, if you're looking for him when these get a little bit bigger and then we cut them down and press them and colour them and put them in other cardboard boxes, he is also your man. So he's kind of carrying you on from the tree's cradle to the tree's grave. There's only dark. 2 more things. It's quite dark, isn't it? But that's what happens, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't have like it's not like you get cardboard games on trees. There's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Matt?
We're not wizards.
Definitely not. And the second thing is to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from the rather... He's fantastic. I've had a blast doing this. It's been brilliant. I could talk to you for another couple of hours, to be honest. But I'm on a yellow and I'm coming down. And
another glass of juice.
It's on its way. It's like getting lined up. I'm thinking about going for the Capri Sun, and let's, it's time to get a bit saucy. And the second thing is, as I say, is to say goodbye. So say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe. Roll 6s. Check out Creaking Shelves. They do some really, really good stuff. The reviews are top notch. Their videos are very, very funny. They're definitely one to watch. They're far more professional than what we'll ever be, So if you're going to spend your time consuming some content, consume it on something which is weighty enough to make those shelves a creaking. But until the next time, goodbye.